first time, 5 days after Operation Veritable began, sufficient German formations arrived to stabilize the front. Facing 30 corps, 5 divisions were 2 German corps, the 47th Panzer and the 86th Infantry. On the Allied side, the initiative remained with the 43rd Wessex Division, which planned to capture the escarpment at Gok by leapfrogging its brigades from one low feature to the next, and bypassing this enemy-held wood, which would be subject to heavy bombardment from rocket batteries and from the air. At 1000 hours on day 6, the lead battalion of the division's 129th Brigade attacked. From now on, the fighting would take a very different and bitter character. As the lead battalion attacked, it suffered heavy casualties from artillery and mortar fire, but as it pressed on, it gained the ridge. Tanks fired directly at the troops from the woodland edge. Germans had also made good use of the farms, which were ideally sited to provide excellent mutual supported defensive positions. German troops would shelter from Allied shelling in their robust farmhouse cellars. Then when it stopped, they quickly manned fire positions in the buildings or in slits around the perimeters. When the British troops captured positions, they faced immediate counterattacks designed to prevent them from consolidating. Both sides fought around the clock. The 43rd Wessex could only inch forward, painfully slowly. The land mattresses pounded the flanking woodland, and on day 7, the weather cleared temporarily to permit close air support. Heavy German fire poured into the 43rd Division's flank, and vicious counterattacks were launched by a freshly arrived battle group of the veteran paratroopers, prepared to fight to the last. The Allied opening artillery bombardment so overwhelmed the Germans in their forward defenses that few remained with either the will or the organization to fall back to defend the Siegfried position. The advance was slowed far more by bad weather and ground conditions, which necessitated a 48-hour pause while engineers, pioneers, and anyone else who could be spared, including fighting troops of the reserve brigades, struggled to improve the routes, so that essential supplies could be moved forward and casualties evacuated. In such conditions, there were few vehicles capable of moving at all. On day 4, when the advance was resumed, it made some 8 kilometers in the face of stiffening opposition, and 2 days later, the forest had been cleared. Once the edge of the Reichswald was reached, patrols probed the country beyond. This was always nerve-wracking work, but could sometimes bring surprising rewards.
The company commander heard some noise coming from a house standing in open country. He ordered this sergeant to take a patrol to investigate. And when they were within 30 or 40 yards of the house, a German sentry appeared to be rudely and quietly dealt with by the patrol. The sergeant then decided to attack the farmhouse, threw grenades through the windows, and entering the house, fired repeatedly down the staircase into the cellar. After a certain amount of shouting and obvious panic below, 30 fully armed German parachutists emerged with their hands up. When it was explained to them that they had been dealt with by a total of 3 men, they thought that the sergeant and the others had been very unfair indeed.
Meantime, 3rd Canadian Infantry Division had completed clearing pockets of enemy resistance from the flooded area, and General Krior had organized a battle zone into 2 separate corps sectors. The 2nd Canadian Division joined forces with 3rd Canadian Infantry Division and continued to fight towards Kalkar and Basel. while the British 30 Corps, now reinforced by the 52nd Lowland Division, will continue to push towards Gach and Geldern. For the 2nd Canadian Corps, the stiffest of resistance was met here in the long, narrow, pine-covered ridge of Moylan Woods. Intense, well-directed artillery, mortar, and machine gun fire destroyed repeated Canadian attacks. The battle for the woods raged on for a bitter, bloody, and costly 8 days. There seemed little hope of rapid progress anywhere, until the afternoon on Day 9, when the pressure of the highly trained 43rd Wessex Division's attack, maintained throughout nearly 4 days of continuous fierce fighting, proved too much. The escarpment overlooking Gach was captured on Day 10. Once into the town, there followed 3 days of tedious street fighting, allowing the Germans ample time to stabilize the front. The town was finally cleared on Day 14, and on the same day, enemy resistance was cleared at Moylan Woods. Operation Veritable planned to reach Basel in just 4 days. Now it was 2 weeks old and not yet halfway there. The Allies still had fresh divisions in reserve, where Schlem had none. The floods everywhere were falling, and it wouldn't be long before the 9th U.S. Army would be able to launch their long-delayed Operation Grenade against the German 15th Army, now severely weakened by the removal of troops to oppose Operation Veritable. The sheer weight of the overwhelmingly superior Allied resources would compel Schlem's army to retreat across the Rhine. The question was, how long would it take, and at what cost?